Good day! We are here outside the De La Salle University Dasmariñas to tackle one of the society's prevalent issues of today.
Street children in the Philippines is a significant problem. They are estimated at about 150 million in both underdeveloped and industrialized countries today. In the Philippines, children discover themselves unable to bear broken families and broken homes. Most often, they are the product of urbanization and the rural to urban migration, which is an indicator of the explosive growth of families in the cities in search of hope and fortune. They suffer from lack of facilities and services showing below poverty line, which is a reflection of the real condition of the Philippine society. Among the 6 cities and 17 municipalities comprising the province of Cavite, the city of Dasmariñas was the most densely inhabited, with the population size making up 18.6% of the total provincial population, based on the 2010 Census of Population and Housing. Dasmariñas City has the highest number of informal settlers, with 11,695 households. It also has the largest percentage of household size of 8 and above, with 13,240 households out of 115,690 total households, compared with other cities and municipalities in the province of Cavite.
Ano pangalan mo?
Benny po, Skasidoy.
Ilang taon na kayo?
Ako po, 11. Siya po, 12.
Nag-aaral kayo?
Ako po.
Saan?
Grade 5 dyan.
Area B. So, anong oras pasok niyo?
Alas 6.
Tapos, after school, saan kayo pumupunta?
Magala. Magkapera.
Magkapera.
Pambaho.
Nagtitinda ba kayo dito? Hindi naman.
Amintis po.
Ay, talaga. Tapos, ano pang ginagawa niyo dito?
Nagme-Merry Christmas.
Ilang taon na kayong ganyan?
Dati pati.
Bata pa lang kayo. Nasaan mga magulang niyo?
Nasa bahay.
Hindi kayo pinapagalitan na nandito kayo? Anong sinasabi sa inyo?
Wala lang po.
Pero hinahanap nila kayo? Saan ba kayo nakatira?
Diyan lang po sa Boral Bus.
Diyan na. Hinahanap nila kayo? Pinapagalitan nila kayo?
Hindi.
Upon knowing that Wenny and Johnny's parents allowed them to live as street children, it kind of disappoints and saddens me because as parents, it is their duty and responsibility to take good care of their parents, and they shouldn't allow their children to roam freely in the streets, especially nowadays because it is dangerous and they might get into an accident. But then, I realized that I couldn't really blame them because not all families are privileged enough. They're one of the several families in the Philippines who are suffering from poverty, and because of that, they aren't fortunate enough to have the time to take care and look out for their children, because they have to work hard to be able to provide money and food for the whole family for them to survive.
Nangihingi kayo sa mga nanay?
Opo.
Anong mga nakuha niyo?
Pera.
Anong ginagawa niyo sa barya?
Pinapangkain. Eto, paraklus.
Bukod sa pera, ano pang nakukuha niyo?
Pagkain. Borge.
Anong trabaho ng magulang niyo?
Kanya po, guardia.
Guardia?
SM.
So, parehas na nagtatrabaho yung magulang niyo.
For me, I think it's quite amazing because to think that these young children chose to work on the streets, relying on themselves rather than their parents, to have an extra income despite spending it for their own needs or entertainment.
Di ba syempre ang dami yung nakakasalamuhang tao dito. Yung iba nagbibigay, yung iba hindi. May mga nangyari na ba sa inyo, kunyari, nasigawan kayo or may nasabi sa inyo hindi maganda? May ganun na ba?
Ganyan.
Talaga? Lagi? Ano mga sinasabi? Gusto mo sa?
Sali ka na!
Dali na. Tatlo naman. Ha? Magagalit? Ba't naman magagalit? sinasabi sa inyo?
Umalis daw po kami.
Kasi,
Kasi makulit.
Lagi po ba silang nandito na pumupunta?
Opo, ito mga bata to.
Opo.
Alos araw-araw. Maaga sila bisa.
nagkukulit po sila dito.
Nakikiinom lang yun.
Nakikiinom lang. Wala naman pong gulong ginagawa. Ano pong naisip niyo sa kanila every time na pupunta po sila dito?
Okay lang, kasi naman lang sa kanila. Kasi ito, yung tatay niya, dati katrabaho ng tatay ko.
Buti pinapayagan naman po sila makainom.
Oo, okay lang yun. Pinapakain pa nga naman yun. Pinapakain pa nga namin sila.
So, hindi po kayo yung, hindi niyo po sila parang negative na
Inipitan na dyan.
Opo, hindi po sila yun.
Siyempre, pag marami lang tao minsan, sumisingin sabi, mamaya. Hindi naman sila, kung sila yung mamaya naman, aalis naman sila. Babalik. Pero automatic yun, babalik yun. Sinabi ko mamaya.
It was heartwarming to know that there are still people that are open to the idea of helping those that are in need of help. Even though they have a business to run, they still find the time to offer them drinks and food, take care of them, and treat them like they would treat their own family. It made me have more faith in humanity, in the Filipino people, that even though we face such poverty, we still pick ourselves up while we pick other people up as well. Whenever darkness looms upon us, we still find and see the light.
Malapit po sila sa inyo. Kahit pa
Dito yan.
Mga ilang taon na po sila ganyan.
Ang tagal na itong mga to dito eh.
Noong una, paano po nagsimula?
Actually, marami yan. Yung mga dating maliliit, mga nagbinata na ngayon.
Kaya po pala pagpasok po nila dito, kayo po agad ang kinausap.
Pinapakain mo pag kumakain. Pinapakain nila na kumakain kami. Pag nakakain kami, binibigyan nila yan ng pagkain. Tawag nga sa akin naman yung ate mo kasi.
We couldn't change the fact that there's really an inequality in terms of our treatment in every people, and I am guilty of being one. We tend to judge them rather than knowing them first. And so it's so surprising that there's still people who would understand them and who would treat them well despite of their status in life. I could still remember how Cyrus sat beside Ate, and it feels like he found a certain security from her that made him feel comfortable in that situation. And you could really notice that they've already built a relationship wherein Cyrus could really rely on them in times like that. So it's so inspiring to see that they treat other people like they are also part of their family. Lagi kayong dito, di ba? Anong nafe-feel nyo kasi ang bait nila sa inyo?
Parang mayaman po.
Ano?
Parang mayaman.
Pero nagtitinda rin kayo, di ba?
Opo.
Kasi rin paninda nyo.
Alam mo tinda.
Ha?
Ayaw namin.
Saan nyo pala nakukuha yung mga paninda nyo?
Alam mo sa Rebroll.
Ha?
Rebroll.
Sa?
Produce.
Saan yun?
Baba po.
Ano yan? Paano kayo nakakakuha nun? Ano bibigay sa inyo?
Pinapala ko.
Tapos, magkano nakukuha nyo dun?
Minsan 150.
150. Yun lang yung buong kita. Magkano yun sa inyo dun?
Minsan 20. Hindi po. Ang gawin na. Kaya lang 50. Hindi naman, 150 din.
So parang 300 yung kita nyo. So, tagkalahati kayo ng may-ari. Ang buti tumayag siya na tagkalahati kayo.
Kasi tinutubuan namin 5.
Anong pinakamahinang benta?
75.
75. Yun na yun. Di tag magkano lang kayo dun?
30 mga ganun,
Hindi po
35.
tag 75.
Tag 75. Saan yung dinadala yung pera na yun?
Pinakaputol na to.
Or?
Timbaon ko yung akin.
Hindi niyo binibigay sa
Kaya
magulang niya.
pambaon talaga sa'yo. Babatay. Doon, minsan bumibili akong pang sa gas.
Binibigay niyo sa magulang niya?
Opo. Saan po, binibigay ko minsan.
Minsan.
Kung marami
nagbebenta kayo para lang may extra kayo. Opo.
Actually, it's a nice act of them knowing that they are doing this to help their family and for them to be able to buy food without asking money from their parents. For me, the act of them truly shows their willingness and their early maturity. Besides, I can see that they are really enjoying what they are doing, maybe because it became their way to meet new people and to gain friends.
Pero sinusuportahan kayo ng magulang niyo sa pag-aaral niyo. Baon niyo, binibigyan kayo. Nag-aaral kayo mabuti.
Kumusta po ako?
Umistap ka? Kasi?
Ano po ako naman?
Tinamad ka? Ba't ka tinamad?
Saan sa tropa?
Ha?
Sinamanan.
Nasanay sa tropa. Anong gusto mong gawin? Gusto mong mag-aaral?
Opo. Pinapolista.
I feel like that choice is very unnecessary and wasteful. Public school offer tuition-free education, and education is still education, even if you got it from whatever school. For me, it feels like there's no merit in prioritizing your barkada over your study and eventually quitting school because of them. Though I can see why they lost their motivation. Still, it's not a valid reason to put an end to a future of possibilities.
Ilan kayo magkakapatid?
Amin po.
Lahat kayo nag-aaral.
Opo.
Ilan taon na yung panganay?
Ano po, 15.
15? Saan siya nag-aaral?
Ano po si Ming?
Pangilan ka sa magkakapatid?
Dalawa po.
So kasunod ka. Ilan taon yung pinakabata mo, kapatid?
Kanya po.
5 na. Di ba sabi mo nagtatrabaho yung tatay mo? Yung nanay mo? Nagtrabaho rin?
Yung papa ko po pang umaga. Ito mama pang gabi.
Ano trabaho ng magulang?
Umaga ko po. Hindi sa Sa po sa pwede. Ang papa naman, magintero.
Carpentero? Opo. Di ba kanina tinatanong kita, ano ulit pangarap mo?
Opo.
Police? Kasi?
Wala ka nang ulam. Pamakang sa magulang.
Bakit? Ano bang ginagawa ng police?
Wala nang ulam din. Wala nang ulam. Minsan po kasi nangungutang siya.
Yung sino-sino?
Mama ko po.
Parang may pang ano kayo. Pero sa araw-araw, nakakakain naman kayo ng ayos.
Ako po hindi. Tulong gabi.
Sa gabi, hindi. Bakit? Kasi,
Lala ko mala.
wala na. Paano yung gutom nyo? Paano pag nagugutom kayo?
Wala lang po. Bigay ko lang. Bigay ko lang po.
Sanay na, nasanay ka. Nasanay ko na kayo.
Gusto ko lang yung alas 12. Magiging masyado.
12 ng madaling araw.
Hindi po.
Tanghali. Para may pangkain kayo.
Food is one of the physiological needs a man needs to fulfill according to Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. As a child, it affects their health and often leads to malnutrition and prone to diseases.
I felt sad and ashamed for taking food for granted because there are ample of street children who would eat only twice or even once a day and would not even get the proper nutrition they need.
Anong gusto mong gawin ngayon? Sino mo, Pogi? Mag-best friends kayo? Simula?
Yung 2014.
Wow! Paano kayo nagkakilala?
Ano po, inalala niya ako.
Magkakalapit lang bahay niyo?
Opo.
Kaya? Nag-away na kayo?
Opo.
Bakit? Anong ginawa niya? Kasi mas pogi daw siya.
Hinabat ko ng bola sa mundo.
Ano ba? Mahal mo siya?
Opo.
Ikaw? Pag may nang-away sa kanya, pagtatanggol mo?
Ay, hindi po.
Bakit?
Ano, pabaya ko na sila. Gusto manalo.
Masaya ba kayo ngayon? Kanina kumain ba kayo kanina? Hindi? Ay, ano? Siya?
Hindi.
Bakit?
Wala. Hindi niya umuwi.
Bakit hindi ko umuwi?
Basketball.
Pero okay na ngayon, hindi ka na nagugutom.
Opo.
Aww.
Tingin nga.
Tingnan mo nga rin siya niya.
Regarding their friendship, I think I find it cute that they found a brother while they're in that situation. It's good to know that there's someone beside you despite everything that's happening to you, you know. Even though they're undergoing poverty, it takes a lot to survive in that situation. And knowing that someone's there beside you, it's gonna be that extra push to lift you up. And just by that, it will feel good for them to like live another day and survive as time passes by.
Ikaw, nag-aaral ka ngayon?
Oo, sa'yo nag-aaral. Dati, mas bata ngayon. Dito.
Ay,
Mas bata ako eh.
taga Masbate? Bakit ka lumipat?
Wala lang.
Wala lang? Lumipat family niyo dito?
Kasi ayoko dun.
Bakit? Ba't ayaw mo?
Puro swimming lang.
Ah. Kamusta naman sa eskwelahan mo?
Oo, puro away.
Bakit?
Hindi po.
Diba? Sabi mo, laging batuan ng papel.
Okay naman kayo sa school niyon.
Opo.
Nagigets niyo yung lesson, yung mga ganun.
Hindi po kasi po na. Hindi ko mo magbasa eh.
Di ka marunong magbasa. Pero anong grade mo na?
Grade 5.
Paano ka nakakaano?
Ang bago lang.
Wala.
Regarding Wen's disability to read, even though he's already in grade 5, it actually made me sad because you know reading is one of the basic skills that you should have in order to survive the everyday life. But then at the same time, it gave me hope learning that when he is still currently studying, and for me reading needs a continuous practice, continuous learning, and the fact that when he and his brothers are selling foods on the street, there are really days that he wasn't able to attend his classes, which slows down his progress. But I still do believe in him that he'll be able to read eventually. I just hope that when he invests more time and effort and interest in reading, so he'll be able to finally achieve that, to be able to finally read full sentences, because it will help him in the future.
Close kayo na mama at papa mo, Dad.
Papa lang po hindi.
Bakit?
Hala, bakit? Binubugbog kayo?
Ako hindi.
Sino yung binubugbog sa inyo?
Wala. Binubog-bog yung alam to. Mama mo kasi may sensitik yun.
Binubugbog ba kayong dalawa?
Hindi po. Ito. Ako hindi ako pinupupula. Kasi mapasensitik mama mo eh.
Pero hindi naman ikaw sinasaktan ng parents mo.
Hindi po.
Ikaw, Wenny.
Di
Ako,
ako
ikaw,
naman
Cyrus.
sasabay no.
Sila.
Basta alam mo, sasaktan ako. Sasaktan lang ako ng mama ko pero papa ko hindi ako. Siyempre masensitik mama ko eh. At
Bakit
hindi
ka
na-
sinasaktan ng mama mo?
Even though I know abuse is a prevalent problem within the whole world, I was still disturbed upon learning this. Problems, especially those that bring harm, can become detrimental to a person, more so if that person is a child. It becomes a possible and likely factor for trauma, thus finding ways to escape their harsh reality. Deliberately becoming street children in order to seek solace, peace, and comfort they were stripped off of.
Though it's normal for parents to discipline their children, it's not right to abuse them and strip them of their rights. It could be traumatizing, especially for that children, to be abused by their own parents, where their parents should support them with love and care.
And I really feel like child and domestic abuse should be really stopped right away. Because for me, no matter how stubborn or annoying a child may get, he doesn't deserve to be hurt physically or to be beaten up that badly. Because those children needs more of the understanding that their parents could give. I hope their parents to come up with a better approach, because these physical abuse has tendencies to be passed through generations, and I don't want Cyrus ending up to be like that in the future, beating up his own children and all. It's just that I hope it stops soon. I hope it ends soon.
To sum up our group's feelings, we feel utter empathy towards Cyrus because incidents like that is very hard for a child. Like what they have said, it really affects one's self-esteem and one's mental health. For me, I think that's why he doesn't talk about his mom or his family life. It's because of he's ashamed of what's happening inside his own family, or he doesn't want anyone to have a misunderstanding of his situation, and he doesn't want his mother's image to be destroyed because we, strangers, do not know the whole context of the story.
Anong tingin niyo sa mga estudyante sa loob ng Lasal? Anong tingin niyo sa mga estudyante sa loob?
Mayayaman.
Mayayaman.
Ay,
Ano pa? Bakit mayaman?
kasi po maporma.
Ha? Tingin niyo ba mababait? Ganun?
Opo.
Naranasan niyo na bang mamaling trato ng mga estudyante?
Ito din dito. Ikaw. Opo.
Sino?
Ano? Paano? Anong ginawa sa inyo?
Ha?
Sa Kadiwa. Maraming Muslim, di ba pinugbog tayo doon? Sa Kadiwa. Pinagbubugbog na Muslim doon eh. Pinahirapan kami.
Binugbog kayo?
Yung kaibigan niya, naghalikan sila doon. Yung kapatid niya, pinaghalikan sila.
Seryoso? Totoo yan?
Opo.
Bakit?
Tapos kami din yung kapatid niya, pinakis din kami nila.
Bakit? Anong reason? Bakit kayo
Binugbog. Kami tumakbo dito.
Bakit kayo binugbog?
Si Maki nga lang yung nakalayo eh. Tapos nakatago siya.
Bakit? Anong reason? Kasi
Wala lang po,
nakulitan?
kasi nasa Kadiwa po kami, maliligo dapat lang. Biglang hinabol kami.
For me, it's kind of heartbreaking because these young children have been robbed of their childhood and their own set of rights.
I think one word that could also describe this is disturbing. Because regardless of cause or reason, it is inappropriate to hit a child. It may warrant a scolding, but it is never enough of a reason to hurt them.
And guys, I think the word respect does apply to everyone, right? And to think that that trait could be easily learned from their family alone, and still not everyone have it. And so, yes, maybe they are street children, but they're also humans, and every humans must be respected. And so it's so sad to think that those who should have been a role model and an inspiration are the ones who maltreated them. So for me, people should learn how to respect each and everyone, no matter what their status are, right?
Yes, I agree with them. It's really saddening to know that they experience something like that, and it's kind of frustrating knowing that there's a person who can do such things to these children. Okay, let's say maybe that time these children were not tolerable and dealing with their importunate behaviors is annoying, but it should not become a reason for them to experience something like that. No one deserves to be treated like that.
What comes into your mind when you hear the word street children?
Para sa akin po, parang irresponsibility ng mga magulang nila, but then we can't blame the parents kasi kami po as a young students, naturuan kami na everything is a social construct.
Mga kabataan sa kalye, sa kalsada, ito yung mga bata na pwede napapabayaan ng magulang, na walang mapag-abalahan gawin sa kanilang mga tahanan. So, ang mga magulang ay walang pakialam sa kanila. Pangalawa, pwede na ang street children sa kasalukuyang panahon, these are individuals that really don't have anything to feed themselves because their parents seem to abandon them. So, not only activities at home, but secondly, there are also instances that because of the condition in life, that they have nobody to attend to their needs, so they are forced to get out and ask the help from other people. So street children, pangatlo, ito yung makikita natin mga bata na namamalimos sa kalsada. Dahil nga sa dalawang kadahilanan which I mentioned, no? Either wala silang mga activities that their parents provide at home, at pangalawa, they were abandoned by their parents. So ang pangatlo, ito na yon. This is the condition, this is the result, na sila ngayon may mga iba't ibang pamamaraan na ginagawa na namamaliwas sa kalsada, kung ano-anong ginagawa ng mga hakbang para sila ay mabusog at the same time malibang.
For certified, kasi I have a son. So ang tingin ko sa kanila is not a different thing compared to my son. I consider them as angels, the son and daughter of our Lord Almighty. And at the same time, I view our street children as not liability, but of course, they're also the ones who is considered the future of this great nation.
What are your insights about the government? Do you think they provide enough services to accommodate this issue?
At first, no, you know very well, it's a given that the government is our source of hope, our source of strength, no, in moments like this, especially in our condition within our society. But government is government, no? The government is one thing. The other thing is how these people in our government really do their work well. So, you know, there are officers, no? There are leaders in our government that have this heart to care for the needy. But there are a lot of you know, leaders in our government that seem they don't care at all. No, they work along with their personal agenda, personal interest. That is why this is our perennial problem. We can say this paulit-ulitan, perennial problem. No, wala nang katapusan. No, we are a witness to this dito sa Pilipinas. No. Off and on, minsan hindi natin alam kung ito ay pinipeke lang yung programa dahil, for example, malapit ang election, so people really appeal well, di ba? Pero at the end of it, tapos na naman ang election, iba na naman ang nangyayari. So this is Filipino culture, no? So maybe when we talk about government, how they handle programs like this, tingnan natin siguro kung how sustainable are the programs we have right now, especially the agency that caters for this need, no? DLSD, DSWD, ano pa yung mga ibang mga agencies that really have this program to really what you call this, lessen the index of poverty, lessen the index of poverty. So,
I think my observation is, yes, our government do its effort to address the issue of the street children, but I think there is lacking in terms of the other support. Okay? The lack of shelter, I think that is the problem. At the same time, we are also want to address the overpopulation, the discipline, the responsible parenthood. Alam nyo, yan ang nagkokos eh. Hindi tayo magkakaroon ng street children kung alam natin yung ating responsibilidad bilang isang kapatid, bilang isang magulang, bilang isang guro. So, lahat tayo may part to address not only the government. I think maswerte pa rin ang bansa natin kasi hindi natin nakikita yung ating mga street children na bumabiyahe sa dagat, nahuhulog sa dagat, nalulunod sa dagat kasi they want to migrate to other countries. Maswerte pa rin tayo dahil nakikita pa rin natin sila hindi sa ibang bansa pero dito pa rin sa Pilipinas. Kaya may chance talaga tayo na makatulong sa kanila. We should open our hearts, we should open the door in order to help this sector.
If you would encounter a street child as you commute, what do you usually do?
Ako ako I'm guilty on that kasi I'm just observing them. And then, there are instances na I interviewed those children. Pero that's it. Hanggang doon lang yun. I asked them if they have a permanent place to stay. Pero I don't normally give money. Food. If I have food in my bag, yun lang yung talagang binibigay ko. Kasi you will be teaching them na to depend with you if you're going to give them money. Tapos, parang wala na silang concept of, striving for themselves if you're going to do that.
I think mayroon tayo kasing batas patungkol sa street children. I'm not familiar, pero pinagbabawal ang pagbibigay ng pagkain. Kasi maaring yung ibinigay natin, I don't know, sa ibang bansa kasi kapag nagbigay ka ng food at sumakit ang tiyan or nalason yung kumain, ikaw pa yung makakasuhan. But sabi nga, we are compassionate eh. Yan naman ang itinuturo sa atin ni Jesus Christ. Even yung parents natin, even the school, kapag kami nagugutom, bigyan natin. Pero mas maganda, let's organize a formal activity. It could be a program, it could be a cause for a cause activity. And then, that's the right time na makapagbigay tayo, makapag-offer tayo sa kanila. Not only food, but yung mga iba pa nilang pangangailangan.
If you would give alms to a street child, what would you give?
Because as a sister, as in our economy, we don't have really that much money that we carry every day as we go. But most of the time, I have always food or some biscuits in my bag. So I usually share with them my baon. So
usually as is po, pero depende pa rin po talaga. Kasi may ibang...
Natatakot ba kayo sa kanila?
Usually po.
Anong naisip niyo sa kanila?
From
mahirap.
Like, hindi naman po sa pagiging judgmental, pero iniisip namin na may gagawin silang masama since yun nga, wala naman silang choice. Kasi wala naman po silang pera.
What are your thoughts concerning the impressions or biases regarding street children?
Actually, I feel really disappointed with how some people think. Because some people usually say that, okay, it's not my obligation to help street children. The thing is, it's no one's obligation to help street children, but we should anyway. Because these people should be understood that they don't have the same amount of opportunities as us. They're not given the same amount of rights as everyone else, and people look down upon them. And it's not even their fault that they're living under poverty, or it's not their fault that they're living with that kind of lifestyle. I want to help change the way that people think when it comes to street children or people living under poverty, because that's what we actually need right now. These people won't be helped if no one teaches them or no one guides them with their life. With regards to what I think about the situation and how people will address the situation, I think it's still very unfair, but I hope that soon enough the Philippines would continue to make progress, not just the Philippines, but everyone else, would continuously make progress with regards to helping out the people under poverty or helping out the people that are living in those kinds of situations.
Thoughts? Siguro this is an indication of poverty. Parang mas malawak talaga yung ating problema sa society. And one of which is poverty. Pero what can we do to alleviate yung poverty? Parang as an individual, we need to parang work with different people to make these children parang out of the street. Kasi parang they are prone to many things with parang violence, exploitation, lahat ng pwedeng magawa sa isang bata na walang kamuang-muang at walang kaalam-alam. So, those things siguro. And insights lang siguro, we have to educate, continue educating the families, not to have more children talaga. Kasi that's one how will you be able to alleviate poverty if the people will going to have more kids na wala naman silang capacity to raise in terms of finances, in terms of education, so lahat. It's a ripple effect. Kung maraming anak and you don't have a decent job, parang how will be able to send them to school, how will be able to feed them. So, yun lang. Siguro lang, ako on my end, what I can do is to help the different government offices to raise consciousness about the importance of family planning. And second, the importance of education. And then, so, nasa ano pa lang ako, sa point pa lang ako na nandoon. I really have this desire to help. Yun lang siguro yung kaya kong gawin as of the moment.
I think nagkakaroon ng stereotype kapag nakakakita tayo ng street children, kahit bata pa, sasabihin ay mga namamalimos, mga maaaring gumawa ng hindi maganda sa loob ng sasakyan, oo, dukutan ka. Pero sabi ko nga, sila ay, they're, sabihin natin na victims. Victims of injustice. Victims of inequality. And I think we should not contribute dun sa brand name na sila ay ganitong bata. Wala nang pag-asa. No. We should know how to uplift the spirit of these children. Like what we did by our founder, Saint Lasan. Kahit gaano kakulit yung mga bata, imagine, may isang makulit na bata doon, naging brother. Like what we did in the Bahay Pag-asa. Sila before, I considered street children kasi 18 years below is considered child. So, ang ginawa ng De La Salle, kinupkup sila, pinag-aral sila, binigyan sila ng magandang future, ipinaalala sa kanila na if you are alone, if you are weak, if you are a sinner, there is Christ that will help you. May isang tao na dapat nating asahan. And that's the good thing that happens to these people. No? Sa tingin ko, ito yung mga dapat nating i-emulate, i-replicate.
What would you do as a student to address this issue?
Honestly, we can't do much kasi yun nga po, coming from you, students pa lang kami. But then, we can study more para mas makapag-produce tayo ng mga citizens na willing tumulong sa mga bata.
I'm actually part of an organization called ISEC, and this organization is the official youth organization under the United Nations. Now, what we do is that we create opportunities and we give people opportunities to work in under the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Now, as a member of this organization, we try to empathize with the people around us, especially the ones living under poverty or the ones that need to be addressed. And what I usually do is that I also try to ask my members to help out when they can and try to really help the people around us that need help. Whenever I see them, with street children, I tell them the same things. I just tell them to either give them what they need or give them food instead of giving them money, because we really don't know what they do with that money. Now, if ever the parent is the one that's asking for money, of course, it's still the same thing. Instead of giving the parents money, because they would need the money anyway, either I'd ask them what they use the money for, or I'd tell my members that they should just give them, the parents, just give them what their children or what their family would actually need.
What would you do as a sister to address this issue?
As a sister, the first thing that I do, also together with my co-sister, we have orphanage, but sadly we have it in Brazil. But here in Cavite, in Paliparan, they are welcome, and we always do reach out during December, outreach program I mean. So we always welcome them and give them some necessary needs. So we gladly share to them what we have, what we can give to them.
Anong masasabi niyo sa gobyerno? Sa tingin niyo ba natutulungan nila kayo o hindi?
Oo. Ano sa tingin niyo yung bakit nila ginagawa yun? Sa tingin niyo, bakit nila kayo hinahabol?
Para malinis yung ano. Kasi po, yung mga kinakain namin, kung saan tinatapon.
Pero ano sana yung gusto nyong magawa nila para sa inyo?
Kami kaya pera. Para maging mabait.
There is no avoiding a child's eyes, looking up to you, holding an empty cup, or handling things in a blazing heat, hoping to look pitifully enough to warrant the charity of few coins. It is an anxiety-ridden dilemma. Knowing that these kids have not only been damaged by their current state, but also by the physical, emotional abuse, and the lack of help from the government, as the street children in the interview said. I had an encounter with street children and I put them in my blog, and they almost have the same story with other children. The reason why they will approach anyone intentionally is because they need help. Not just money nor food, but help for hope to change their situation. There are concrete ways in which we as a student can help them. First, give a moment. The simplest and the most valuable thing you can give to a child is time. Rather than brushing them off, spend some time to ask them their names, what do they like to do, or their favorite games. Generosity doesn't have to mean giving away things. Sharing a bit of yourself, opening a window into your own world is a good place to begin. Not only will it be healthier, but it will also let the child feel more secure, knowing that you are interested in his or her story. However, remain cautious when extending the invitation, as one may end up meaning that you're taking the entire community for a treat. Third is, share your world. Give pens, candies, or clothes may seem like a great alternative, but it often leads to a whole slew of problems. Not only does it breed materialism, it also promotes unhealthy competition and makes them view begging as a fun possibility. Though there aren't any clear-cut answers, recognizing that poverty is a global issue and that children all over the world deserve a future is the first step in the right direction. As Dr. Loretta Scott famously said, we can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone.